Hello students, today we are going to take the new lesson module 4 in workbook 4C. But first we have to read the text. Let's start. Nothing to fear but fear itself. Kurt has just sat down to watch his favorite program when he heard the most terrifying scream he had ever heard in his life. The noise had been made by his little sister, but what had caused her to make it? If she had seen somebody at the window, she would have fainted. If she had got soap in her eye, she would have yelled, but she wouldn't have screamed, or at least not as loudly as she had. So what could it have been? Then Kurt realized she had spotted a spider in the bath. Kurt's sister, like so many of us, has a phobia. Hers happens to be acronophobia, a fear of spider, but there are millions of other phobias out there. If you are afraid of heights, for example, you have acrophobia, which means you probably can climb up a ladder. Or if you have ever used a lift and wished you hadn't because you felt like you couldn't breathe, you might have claustrophobia, which means you hate being in enclosed spaces. While fear is a normal reaction that warns us away from dangers, phobias are irrational fears and they often make us act in an unreasonable manner. Let's go on. They can make us unhappy because they keep us from doing normal everyday things such as going on an escalator or getting on a bus. If you suffer from a phobia that is having a bad effect on your life, there is still hope. Don't sit around saying, "Oh, if I only wasn't so afraid of this or that." Go and get help from people who care, such as friends and family. If you ask them, they will probably tell you that they have certain phobias too. Together you can discuss your experiences and come up with a way to reduce your fears. Let's take the exercise number 1, reading. Read the text and mark the sentences true or false. Kurt's sister was very scared. It's true. Kurt's sister lost conscience. It's false. There are a few phobias. It's false. Claustrophobic people are afraid of open spaces. It's false. It's normal to feel fear. It's true. Phobias affect our behavior. It's true. Phobias affect our everyday life. It's true. Only family can help reduce your phobias. It's false. Let's go on with exercise number 2. Vocabulary. Match the words to form collocations. Desert, island, charity, work, daring adventure, born survivor, inhospitable terrain, remote region. Let's go on with exercise number 3. Choose the correct word. It's impossible to stay alive without food and water. It's rewarding to be able to overcome challenges. He worked hard and broke the world record. Experts can help people confront their fear of heights. People who like extreme sports like to push the limits. After years of hard work, Paul managed to realize his dream and build his own house. I really admire people that have accomplished incredible feats such as climbing Mount Everest. The host of the show demonstrated techniques of how to deal with fear. John gave up his career to live his dream of becoming a singer. You need professional help to show you how to survive extreme conditions in places such as the Arctic. They are launching a car that endure the Earth's most inhospitable terrains. Exercise number 4, phrasal verbs. Be careful with the water. We don't want to run out. I ran into an old schoolmate at the park today. The police officer ran after the pickpocket. My dad almost ran over a fox today on the motorway. Paul ran across a rare book in a charity shop yesterday. Exercise number 5, word formation. Complete the sentences with nouns formed from the verb in the list. Advice, bath, breathe, clothe, prove. The boys stopped running for a few minutes to catch their breath. The police knew he did it, but they had no proof. When he needs advice, he always asks his parents. After a long day, I really need to relax in a hot bath. The survivor made a shelter from some clothing he found in the wreckage. Let's go on. Preposition, exercise number 6. Fill in on, in, or from. They live on a small island in the Mediterranean. These flowers grow in the wild. He makes a nice soup from roots and leaves. He suffers from a backache. There is going to be a charity event in aid of the local homeless shelter. On Thanksgiving, we feast on turkey and pumpkin pie. Exercise number 7 is with listening. Listen to a teacher talking to students about basic survival skills. For question from 1 to 4, choose the correct answer, A, B, or C. We are not going to listen. It's a large, a long text, but we can read it and answer the question. Adventure holidays have become very popular. More and more people are taking risks and heading out into the unknown for a little fun and excitement. However, too many people are going unprepared for what nature might have in store for them. If you are planning to go out into the wilderness, there are a few things you will want to think about before you go. To deal with an emergency situation, one must be able to stay calm and make decisions quickly. Fear is the first thing anyone is faced with in an emergency. It is a normal reaction and everyone experiences it. The most important thing is how you deal with it. Physical injuries have to be dealt with immediately. If you can contract emergency services right away, if you can't call for help, you will have to deal with the problems as best as you can on your own. Next, it is important to stay warm. Being cold affects a person's ability to think clearly. Try to keep moving and create some kinds of shelter. If you are going to be out in the elements for a long period of time, of course, dehydration and hunger can also become a problem if you are stand for long. For this reason, it is important for people to have basic survival skills if they are planning to go out into the wilderness. It is essential to know how to build a fire and shelter. Also, if possible, having a supply of water and food is important. And of course, everyone should carry a first aid kit that includes a whistle and a flare if possible. These items can potentially save your life. This was the text. Let's go to the questions. People are going on a